There is a saying, those that control the present control the past, and those that control the past also control the future. And the media is the instrument that the government uses to control how people's attitudes and beliefs are toward world events. No country in the world has done a better job of using the media to influence opinion and legitimize its country's actions than the United States of America. A global force for good declares the recruitment advertisement to join the American military. Despite some internal criticism, almost every American believes that the United States is the world policeman and has the right to do so because American values are honorable, intrinsically good, and beneficial to the rest of the world. But how can this be? Since the Great Patriotic War, America has been involved in more armed conflicts, killed more people, invaded more countries, overthrown more democratic elected governments than all other countries in the world combined. Now let that sink in for a moment. America has caused more death and misery than all the countries in the world since 1945, and yet it has successfully convinced its citizens, Europe and the West, that it is the global peacemaker that protects the rights of citizens throughout the world. I'm going to show you an example of how the United States has done this. It just so happens that a friend of mine from America was debating the war of Ukraine with me. I told him that I've been to Donbass many times, spoke with many residents of Lugansk, Donbass, Crimea, and got a first-hand account of what was taking place. I saw it with my eyes. His argument came from American media outlets. He proceeded to send me articles from the United States newspapers, internet media outlets describing this war. I must say, I was shocked. It is no wonder Americans and Westerners believe the United States government narrative that Russia is the cause and instigator of the Ukraine war. This discourse with my friend prompted me to research this myself. For me, it is black and white. I've been to Donbass 13 times. I've seen the destruction. I've talked to the people living in this nightmare. I've seen the truth with my eyes. However, I looked at common American media internet outlets. I was dismayed to see that the accounts of the war in Ukraine were either incomplete, misleading, or absolutely, completely false. And across these articles and descriptions I read, one common theme rang loudly. America and the West does not care about the people of Donbass. They are rarely even referred to at all. It's as if they don't even exist. It is painfully evident that the people of Donbass are nothing but pawns to be used as propaganda tool in American hegemony. Do you know why the people of Donbass are never in the news or in interviews by the Western media? Never. Because if the journalists asked these people what was happening and how they felt, the world would hear directly from those most affected by this conflict, those who are dying every day, that it is Ukraine and NATO attacking them and killing them, and it is Russia that is protecting them. So, I have a few examples to show you exactly what I'm talking about, so you don't have to take my word. Example 1. The Russo-Ukraine war started in 2014 following Ukraine's Revolution of Dignity. Revolution of Dignity. Is this what they call illegal violent coups now? This shows how the past has been changed by those in control of the narrative. It should read that America's CIA engaged in a coup to overthrow Ukraine's democratic elected president, Viktor Yanukovych, and a U.S. puppet was installed. In response, Crimea, Donetsk, and Lugansk held referendums allowed under the Ukrainian constitution. Crimea voted to become part of Russia, while Lugansk and Donetsk voted for independence. Ukraine's response to democracy was to send its military to kill civilians in Odessa the very next day, and then launch an ethnic cleansing campaign in Donbass. Ukraine started the war by attacking the republics of Lugansk and Donetsk. This is the beginning of the war. Example 2, Russia's reason for invasion. This article completely ignores the reason Russia started the SVO. First, let's start with correct terminology. The reason President Putin calls it a special military operation It is because it has specific purposes. First, to protect the people of Donbass, who have been bombed by Ukraine every day for 8 years before Russia intervened. And second, to stop the militarization of Ukraine, meaning that Ukraine was not to become part of NATO at Russia's doorstep. This is not an invasion. There was never an intent or an attempt to take Ukraine. Russia's military is not in Ukraine, but rather in the former republics that voted to become part of Russia under legal referendums. Example 3. Who started the war in Ukraine? This article is simply laughable. The Russia invasion of Crimea? Do you mean the democratic vote to become part of Russia, where 94% of the voters in Crimea supported the referendum? Not one shot was fired, not one shot. Quite the opposite of an invasion. Example 4, why can't Ukraine join NATO? This has always been a red line for Russia, who sees NATO in Ukraine as an existential threat. Existential threat. Not upset Russia, but an existential threat. This has been voiced by President Putin since 2008. To put this in perspective, in 1962, Russia installed a military base in Cuba near America's border. America so vehemently opposed its base, it almost started a nuclear war between the two countries before Russia relented and dismantled the base. America won't allow it, so why should Russia? Example 5. In 2022, Russia escalated the war in Ukraine by invading, a war that started in 2014. How did it start in 2014? For 8 years, a war had been raging in which the US and NATO engaged in an ethnic cleansing campaign against the people of Donbass. Isn't this an important detail to include in discussing Russia's reasoning for entering this conflict? It's kind of important. And again, the people of Donbass are not even a footnote in the Western narrative describing this conflict. Example 6, is Ukraine a democracy? Again, this is just a blatant lie. It talks about the article and the Constitution. Zelensky has been criminalized in opposing political parties, banned media outlets critical of government, made practicing Ukrainian Orthodox religion illegal, and banned the use of Russian language. This is not a democracy. And if Americans knew that their tax dollars were going to support this government, they would not accept it. But they will not easily find out, because America uses this sort of media to mislead, misinform, and confuse its own people. You don't have to take my word for it. You can see it with your own eyes. This is right off the internet. This is what people read every day in America and Europe. Western propaganda keeps people ignorant about what is happening in Donbass, allowing America to continue this war, which has already caused so much death and destruction.